there's not really anything about this that's not fishy. You know what I mean? None of this makes sense. All right. We're asking you questions because.
Can I call somebody?
What do you want to call? Let's go ahead and get your handcuffs first.
Just trying to cash a $24,000 counterfeit check.
Help me out, you guys do this. How did you know this was fraudulent?
I've got the original back there, but we can show you an actual check and the one she brought in. All the watermarks, everything are showing up like it's a copy. The QID scan doesn't work. Like nothing about it.
Okay.
Here,
Officers arrived to find that pawn shop staff had already completed the initial authentication work. The check had failed every on-site verification test available. The watermarks appeared to be reproduced copies rather than embedded originals. The QR code returned no valid data on scan. Staff had pulled an authentic Treasury check template for direct comparison. The differences were apparent immediately. Pawn shops in Florida operate under state licensing requirements that include verifying the identity of anyone cashing a check and reporting suspicious transactions to law enforcement. Staff who regularly handle high-value paper instruments develop pattern recognition that experienced fraud investigators rely on. In this case, the pawn shop staff functioned exactly as intended.
Hello.
And we're call on John Hancock.
What's this all about?
I had received a check in the mail. And it was supposed to be a payback out from my back pay.
For what?
Unemployment.
You were expecting a check for almost $24,000?
I wasn't, not really.
Were you expecting a check at all?
I knew I was supposed to be getting a check, but I didn't think that it was supposed to be that much.
Okay. How did you get here? How did you get here?
I drove.
Is the car outside yours?
No. I had drove, well, I actually got dropped off, but I drove myself here, but the person I was with had left. Because we were supposed to be going to go pick up my kids after school.
Okay. What car did you show up in?
It was a Mazda.
And why did they leave?
Because we was running late picking up my kids from school.
All right, so why didn't you go pick up your kids from school then?
Because I had told them I was coming back about 5 o'clock. Well, before then.
Okay.
I'm in trouble or something.
I mean, they're saying this is a fraudulent check. I don't know. I don't know the difference.
When the detective made first contact with the subject, her demeanor was calm. She stated immediately that the check was unemployment back pay. Her initial explanation was simple and delivered without visible hesitation. But the detective's questions were designed to do something specific, map her account across multiple details, and look for points where the story failed to hold its own weight. The first inconsistency surfaced within 60 seconds. Asked how she arrived at the pawn shop, the subject stated she drove. Then she said she was dropped off. Then she said the person she came with had left to pick up her children from school, yet she herself had stayed behind. 3 different answers to a single, low-stakes question. Investigators note these moments specifically because they indicate stress-driven narrative construction.
Where'd you work at before?
I used to work for the state at Florida State Hospital a while back ago.
How long ago?
Like 2018, 2019.
2018, 2019. Okay. Have you worked since?
After I had my kids, I was out for like a year and a half.
Okay.
And then I ended up going to a juvenile facility.
Did you ever file for unemployment?
I did one time before.
When?
It was like around COVID time.
So when exactly?
Spoke with a female on Reback, and she advised I had the wrong number.
I really don't honestly remember.
But during COVID, like when COVID originally started, so like
Yeah.
2020 probably?
Yeah.
Okay. And since the state, did you work anywhere else after? Where else did you work?
No, like I went back to the state one time, but then once like they COVID rate had struck again, I had ended up leaving again.
The detective began building the factual foundation of the unemployment claim. The subject stated she had worked for a Florida state facility. She named the Florida State Hospital. Around 2018 and 2019, she earned approximately $15 an hour. She applied for unemployment once, sometime around the start of the COVID pandemic, which she estimated as 2019 or 2020. She stated she submitted paperwork after receiving a letter requesting more information. She never received an approval. She never received a denial. She never received any payment. And at some point, she stopped following up.
But I had never, like when I applied for unemployment, I never ended up receiving it
How'd you apply for it?
online.
Okay. And who was it through?
I think it was through the unemployment office. I'm not sure. This was my first time ever applying for unemployment.
Did you ever get an email back or anything?
Let me see.
So when did you get this in the mail?
It was like, I want to say almost a week ago. But I wasn't never able to cash it because I didn't have my ID on me.
Uh-huh.
So then that's when eventually I had finally got up today, and I was like, well, I got time to go get an ID and stuff. Let me go ahead and try to go to get everything situated and settled.
Who did you say the check came through again?
It was supposed to come from the unemployment office. But like even like before I had received that check, like I hadn't spoken to anyone like recently since then.
Where was your ID? You said you didn't have your ID when you
No.
when you got the check.
I had ended up getting my license took by Florida Highway Patrol, and I never ended up going to go replace them or anything.
So you got a new ID today? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he told me that I couldn't use my picture ID. And like that's what I had been using.
Who told you couldn't?
The dude in there
When was that?
this morning.
So you went today by walk-in to DMV to get another one?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. So this morning, what did you bring in here?
I had a picture ID on my phone.
Why did they take your license or ID?
Because it was suspended at the time when I had got pulled.
And you never run it. When did it stop being suspended? Like when was it valid again?
It's in the process of being valid again.
If I understood you correctly, you said that you haven't cashed this check for about a week because he wouldn't let you.
No, I didn't cash this check for about a week because of my work schedule. But today, being that I'm kind of free, I had came in this morning and I tried to use my photo ID on my phone, but he told me I couldn't use my photo ID on my phone. So that's when I had went and got the hard copy of it.
Okay.
What's going on? We're here. You're here. The check's here. Tell me what happened.
Basically, okay, I received a check in the mail that was supposed to be for back pay
When did you receive it?
last week.
Where, at your house?
Yes.
Okay.
So I haven't been staying home, honestly. And I called my aunt and I was asking her, like, hey, have I got any mail, this and that? So she was like, yeah, you got a couple of.
So your aunt stays with you?
Yes, I stayed with my aunt.
That's at your, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So she was like that I had a few pieces of mail in, this, that, and the third. So I had went to go pick it up.
Okay.
So after that, that's when I noticed that the check had came.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, well, boom. So last week when I picked it up, I never ended up cashing it because due to my work schedule, I always got off work late.
Okay.
And so then after that, that's when I had came in today because I was off.
Yeah.
And to cash the check. And when I tried to use my photo ID on my phone, they was like, no, I needed a physical ID. So I had went and got a physical ID.
Okay.
And this happened.
The check, the subject explained, had arrived at her aunt's residence approximately 1 week before the day of this incident. She had been staying elsewhere, called her aunt to ask about mail, retrieved the check, and then waited approximately 1 week before attempting to cash it. She attributed the delay to her work schedule. A parallel issue concerned her identification. Florida Highway Patrol had confiscated her driver's license during a prior traffic stop due to a suspension. She had not replaced it. That morning, she attempted to cash the check using a photograph of her ID stored on her phone, which the pawn shop rejected. She then went to the Department of Motor Vehicles, obtained a physical ID, and returned to the same pawn shop the same afternoon. This was her second visit to this location in a single day, both visits specifically directed at cashing this check.
So that check was for what?
For unemployment.
Okay. Have you ever gotten unemployment before?
No, I applied once, but I never received anything, never heard anything goes back. So it was just like.
So this is the first time you've ever done unemployment, filed for it or anything like that? You've never received checks before for unemployment or anything? This is the first one?
Yes.
Okay.
At this point in the interrogation, 5 significant red flags had already emerged. The The subject's account of how she arrived was internally inconsistent. The unemployment timeline she described placed her claim in 2019 or 2020, meaning the check was arriving 3 to 4 years after an application that generated no response. She could produce no documentation. She had waited 1 week to cash what she was describing as a legitimate $24,000 government payment, and she had made 2 separate trips to the same pawn shop in a single day, specifically to complete this transaction.
And when did you receive it?
Last week.
Okay. Where's the envelope that came in? Do you have it?
It was supposed to have been up front if they didn't move it.
Okay. Do you remember who it came from? What was on the envelope?
It was a blank envelope with a clear slip, and it was a paper in front of it. And then, like, when you unfold it, it was like the check, the rest of it. Well, you know how, like, you rip off a check?
Mm-hmm.
That's how it was.
Okay. All right. Have you ever received Department of Treasury checks before for anything?
No, sir.
Has anyone else seen that check? Have you talked to anyone else about that check?
No.
Okay. And the reason for you waiting about a week to come in and cash it, well,
Because I don't get off till 6
Okay.
o'clock, so it's like by the time I make it back this way, it's 7 o'clock, so everything is
I got you.
almost closed.
I got
Can I ask you a question? Back when you worked for the Florida State Hospital, what was your salary?
Back then I was making like 15 something because I was OPS, so I was making a little bit more than the regular
15
staff.
what?
An hour?
15 an hour.
15 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
And you worked for like 6 to 7 months.
Yeah,
Okay.
but and we was working like sometimes we'll do 16, sometimes we'll double on, or we could come in.
Okay. When you filed for unemployment, how'd you do it? What site did you go to?
Let me see, can I pull up on my email?
Yeah, you got something you got in there? What did you receive? Did you get like an email after you applied? Did you receive anything?
I had basically received a letter saying that I had to submit some more information in, but that was the only thing. Once I had not submitted everything, that was it.
Did you submit the paperwork?
Yes,
Okay.
How
That
did
was-
you do that?
I did it online. Like at the time, I was doing everything online. But how I had like knew to do like the unemployment stuff, my friend was telling me about it. So
Did you ever receive an approval or a denial from them for unemployment?
I really didn't too much to hear nothing else.
Okay.
And then it was like I had started doing hair, so it was like I wasn't really too focused on it.
That was probably around like 2019 you did that?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So it's now 2023. Never received anything back from them. And all of a sudden, you get a envelope in the mail, plain white envelope in the mail with a treasury check inside it for $24,000. Does that seem to make sense to you?
The detective then articulated what any fraud investigator would immediately recognize as the central problem. The subject filed an unemployment claim in approximately 2019 or 2020. She received no approval, no denial, and no payments. It was now 2023, 3 to 4 years later, and she was claiming that a $24,000 treasury check had arrived in a plain white envelope with no prior notification and no supporting paperwork as back payment for that abandoned claim. The detective asked her directly whether that seemed to make sense.
Because it was like I considered throwing it away, but then I was like, what if this actually this my back pay that they owed me? So it was just
For 6 to 7 months that you worked, and you made $15 an hour.
Well,
So
I
you
wouldn't
get
say it was 6 to 7 months because it was like I worked and then I left and then I would end up going back to work there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like.
Who do you bank with?
I was banking with Chime, now I bank with a bank called Go To Bank.
Okay, what is that? Is that
It's a mobile banking app.
It's a mobile bank.
Yes.
Okay. So did you attempt to cash that check at your bank? Deposit it at your bank?
I didn't, only because I don't have a physical card for that account just yet. I had to reorder one.
What do you mean, like a debit card?
Yes.
So they require you to have a debit card in
No,
order for you
I
to...
didn't want to cash it into the account and then I wasn't able to use it due to I didn't have a physical debit card.
Okay. All right. Oh, so you didn't put it in your bank because you wouldn't have a card to be able to utilize the money.
Yeah. Like even with my job, my direct deposits, I had to stop a hold on my direct deposits due to I don't have a card to use my card at the moment, so my job had to give me a cash check. Well, I mean a check.
Okay.
The subject's answer to that question is legally significant. She did not say she was certain the check was legitimate. She described a state of uncertainty. She said she had considered throwing the check away, but then thought, what if this actually is my back pay that they owe me? That framing, what if, is not the language of someone confident they have received a legitimate government payment. It is the language of someone who recognized doubt and chose to proceed anyway. Under a legal doctrine called willful blindness, that choice carries the same criminal weight as actual knowledge. That doctrine will be examined in full later in this analysis.
There's not really anything about this that's not fishy. You know what I mean? None of this makes sense. All right. We're asking you questions because we're trying to gauge where you're at as far as what you're going to tell us and how truthful you're going to be. But I'm going to tell you right now, not a darn thing that's come out of your mouth has made any sense. Okay? 2019, you applied for unemployment. Is that what you said?
No, it wasn't. I wouldn't even say it was 2019. I want to say it was 2020.
Well, first,
Okay.
originally, when you guys
But you know
told me
what?
2018.
I'm going to say 2020 because
Okay.
I had my kids in 2019. I started working for the state a little after that.
Okay, so let's say it's 2020.
Mhm.
Okay? It's 3 years later. Okay? It's 2023. It's almost 2024.
Mhm.
And you receive a check for supposedly what you applied for 3 years prior. Okay? And I'm going to tell you right now, unemployment doesn't give lump checks. Okay?
The detective then corrected the fundamental factual premise of the subject's story. Unemployment insurance in the United States is not distributed as a lump sum payment. Benefits are calculated as a percentage of prior wages and paid on a weekly or biweekly schedule for a defined benefit period, typically up to 26 weeks. A worker earning $15 an hour in a part-time or irregular capacity would not accumulate $24,000 in unemployment benefits under any standard calculation. Unemployment benefits in Florida are administered by the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity, not the United States Treasury. An unemployment back pay check bearing United States Treasury credentials is factually incorrect on its face. The detective also identified a specific forensic detail. The reference code printed on the instrument, F941, corresponds to IRS Form 941, the employer's quarterly federal tax return. That form is filed by businesses to report payroll taxes withheld from employees. It has no connection to individual unemployment claims. Whoever created this check either did not know what the reference number meant, or assumed the person attempting to cash it would not know either.
Unemployment is a payment, as if you were working.
I never.
Okay? And those checks don't come from the Treasury. Okay? No, but I'm letting you know that I know that. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know that. Like I never received unemployment. I never got a check from Treasury or anything. So this is like my first time actually receiving something like this. I promise you I'm not lying.
So just so you know, for 4 years, I did fraudulent investigations for the department. And I saw stuff like this all the time. And I'll tell you right now, the reason we're asking this, he's saying we're gauging how truthful you're going to be. I'll tell you right now, this is your chance to be honest because I know exactly what's going on. I can call it exactly like I've seen it every other time before. Somehow, someone came in contact with you, a male, probably the male that's sitting in your car out there in the passenger seat, the black Chevy Malibu, and that person convinced you that you need to go in here and you need to cash this check, and then payment would be to receive a portion of that check while they get the other. You being a single mom, I don't know if you're getting paid a lot right now. I'm not going to worry about that. But you would get a portion of that money. And they would get the rest. And all you had to do was go in here, show your ID, and here you go, and this is what you got to say, and these people will buy it. And I say that because I recently arrested someone not too long ago for the same similar type of thing here. So, with that being said, we already know the person out in the car because I don't know if you know this or not, but this place has video cameras. So they come, you come here and they see exactly what cars you come in and out of. And they see what cars come at the same time that you come.
Right.
Well, that car was here earlier with you.
Right.
So it's odd that it's back now and there's a guy that's just been sitting there waiting.
Well, actually,
The detective then moved from analyzing the check to analyzing the broader scheme. He described what fraud investigators call a money mule operation. An organizer, typically operating remotely, recruits an individual through social media platforms such as Instagram or Facebook. The organizer presents a check as legitimate and provides the front person with a cover story. The front person is instructed to cash the check and surrender the majority of the proceeds. The front person receives a percentage as compensation. When the fraud is detected, either at the point of transaction or days later when the instrument bounces, the individual who physically presented the check is the person who faces criminal prosecution. The organizer remains insulated. The detective referenced a black Chevrolet Malibu visible on the pawnshop's security cameras, which had been present during the subject's first morning visit and had returned. A male occupant was observed waiting in the passenger seat. The detective characterized this as consistent with the money mule pattern.
In the passenger seat. Now, my question is did this guy contact you through like Instagram or Facebook or what? And what did he promise you? Because, and maybe he told you that, yes, this is legit and, you know, this is what it is. But I'm telling you right now, I know you're full of it. They try to do this whole thing all the time with people. We're like, here, this is what it is. This is what you're going to tell them. That way it sounds legit or tries to sound legit. The problem is that Treasury check, first off, it's fake as heck. There's nothing about that check that's even remotely real. You wouldn't get a check from the Treasury anyway that comes in a blank envelope in the mail 3 years later, and then you claim it's unemployment. So you can sit here and tell us all day long that this is what you believe it is, or this is what you think it is, or whatever story they concocted for you. But ultimately, you need to tell us who the person is out there, how they contact you, and everything else, and maybe we can help you out. I'm not promising we can, but this is your chance to be honest, because I'm telling you right now, I already know you're lying.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. The person that's in the car, that's my little brother. He's a minor.
Okay.
He's 17. He has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with this.
Okay.
That's number one. I promise you, I'm completely honest with you.
Okay.
Number two, the check that came in the mail, basically, my friend helped me apply for unemployment. She told me basically, like, you go on this website, you do such and such and such, and that was it. But being that I never received anything, I'm being completely honest with you. I promise you, I am. Being that I never received anything, it was just like, I didn't worry about it no more.
The subject identified the vehicle's occupant as her 17-year-old brother and stated he had nothing to do with the transaction. The detective acknowledged this without abandoning the line of questioning. The identity and role of the vehicle's occupant was not resolved on camera. The detective then made the stakes explicit. He told the subject this was her opportunity to provide honest information, that he had worked fraud cases for 4 years and had seen the same pattern repeatedly. The subject offered to provide contact information for a friend who had helped her apply for unemployment years earlier. The detective asked what that would accomplish. The subject could not answer.
So you're going to stick with that came in the mail. That's what you're sticking with? Because I'm going to tell you right now, we're getting to a point where there's going to be a line. And once we meet that line of our patience with this, there's going to be no going back and helping you without you being completely 100% honest with us. I don't want that to happen for you. He doesn't want that to happen for you, but that's where it's headed.
I can give you my friend information that helped me do everything.
But you can't show us anything about anything that you applied for, any website, any email.
Nothing that said you're ever going to get money back, which doesn't make sense. You get it back from the Treasury anyway. A big lump sum of $24,000 3 years later after you file for unemployment. That makes
they're not just going to send you a check without some sort of notification, especially for that amount. And with unemployment, you get approved or you get denied. I've done unemployment before back in the day. You get approved, you get denied. But it's all notifications to your email, in the mail. You have documentation for everything because that's a government entity. And they have to keep records of everything. And you get notifications of every decision that they make. But you can't show us one piece of documentation.
That's what I'm saying to you. I didn't.
The detective made one final point about documentation. When an individual applies for unemployment and a determination is made, approval or denial, government agencies are required to provide written notification. The process generates a paper and digital record, confirmation emails, decision letters, correspondence requesting additional information, and records of any payments issued. None of that documentation existed for the subject's claimed application. She could not show a website login. She could not show a confirmation email. She could not show an approval or denial letter. She could not show any record that a claim had been filed, processed, or decided. For a government entity that is legally required to document every determination it makes, that absence is not a gap, it is an answer.
Do everything by myself. My friend helped me. I could give you my friend information. I could give you a name, who helped me with it, everything. I don't want to get in trouble. I just really honestly want to make it at home to my kids. I can give you all the person contact information.
Your friend?
Yes.
Okay. What are they going to do? They're going to tell me, oh yeah, I helped her file for unemployment? That doesn't help. What is that going to do?
I don't know.
I tell you what, give me your friend's information. While we're here with you, we're going to call her. We're going to see what she says.
So you finished high school, completed some college. So that means you're not stupid. But you want me to expect to believe that this was from an unemployment check. It's amazing. Like I said, I've done this for a long time. I did this for 4 years. All kinds of stuff. The only thing that ever changed was the names of the people that did it. That's it. It's the only thing that ever changed.
I promise you, this is my first
Because
time.
I can look at that check right there, and I can tell that that is beyond fake. It's laughable. The number that's on here, there's a reference number on here. The F941 has to do with payroll taxes, not unemployment. And the fact that you think that you would get a check for $24,000 basically after 3 years is ridiculous. So I know you're sitting here thinking that we're buying it, but we're not.
No, I'm not. I'm just honestly.
Based off of what we have here, okay, you're under arrest.
Can I call somebody?
What do you want to call?
Let's go ahead and get you in handcuffs first. We'll call when we got okay?
This case is based on the totality of the interrogation. The officers placed the subject under arrest. Under Florida law, an arrest for uttering a forged instrument does not require proof that the subject created the check, only that she knowingly attempted to pass it. The act of presenting the instrument at the pawn shop, with identification, was sufficient to establish the charge. The question of intent, and whether she was a willing participant or a recruited front person, would be a matter for the court. Under Florida Statute Section 831.02, uttering a forged instrument is a third-degree felony requiring proof that the defendant knew the instrument was false at the time of presentation. The knowledge element is where these cases are typically contested. Defendants frequently argue they were deceived and genuinely believed the instrument was legitimate. Florida courts, consistent with federal precedent established in Global Tech Appliances versus SEB, recognize the willful blindness doctrine, sometimes called deliberate ignorance. Under this standard, a defendant cannot avoid liability by deliberately choosing not to learn facts that would confirm criminal activity. If a reasonable person would have recognized multiple red flags and the defendant consciously chose not to investigate, courts may treat that deliberate avoidance as functionally equivalent to actual knowledge. In this case, the subject acknowledged she considered throwing the check away, described it as a what-if situation, waited 1 week, made 2 separate trips, obtained new identification specifically to complete this transaction, and presented the instrument knowing she had no documentation supporting its legitimacy. That is not passive ignorance. That is a choice. The subject was charged with passing a counterfeit instrument and grand theft in the range of $20,000 to $100,000, a second-degree felony carrying a maximum of 15 years. Her bond was set at $27,500. The court ultimately sentenced her to 2 years of probation, 16 days in jail, and $668 in fines. The sentence reflects a judicial assessment consistent with someone who played the front-person role in a larger scheme, culpable enough to warrant conviction and incarceration, but not the primary architect. Anyone who receives an unexpected check in the mail for a significant amount, with no prior communication from the issuing agency and no documentation trail, should contact the agency directly before attempting to cash it. Attempting to cash a counterfeit instrument, even without knowledge of its origin, can result in felony charges. The lead detective receives a B+. The interrogation was methodical, legally sound, and reflected genuine expertise in financial fraud patterns. His accurate description of the money mule scheme structure, including the social media recruitment vector and front-person liability dynamic, and his identification of the F941 reference code as payroll tax documentation, demonstrates the kind of specialized knowledge that separates effective fraud investigations from superficial credential checks. His decision to give the subject multiple opportunities to provide information was tactically sound. However, the interrogation periodically shifted into extended monologue, reducing the subject's opportunity to respond voluntarily and potentially limiting the information obtained. A, B+, the subject receives a D. Either she knowingly agreed to present a counterfeit check in exchange for a percentage of the proceeds, or she was recruited as a money mule and exercised no meaningful due diligence before attempting to cash a $24,000 check that she herself considered throwing away. Either scenario reflects serious failure of judgment. She could not produce a single piece of documentation. She acknowledged the what-if framing, suggesting awareness that something was wrong, and chose to proceed regardless. Whatever her actual level of knowledge, the legal threshold of willful blindness was met. A.D. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic that you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and do not forget to check out our second channel, Audit the Court, for even more police interaction and courtroom content.